attention to some of the tier list videos being made by several Pokemon TCG YouTubers right now, I think you might notice a list called Arceus VStar plus Beedrill on there, at least on a few of them that I've seen. And so I decided to go on the YouTube and see if anyone was actually playing Arceus Beedrill, and so far I haven't seen any results for it, except for a few. So I was like, okay, time to make a video on this. So I went and I searched around. I found this cool channel called Controlled Chaos Gaming. They do a lot of tabletop gameplay. So I just stole their list. I'll give a shout out to them in the description as well. So yeah, I pretty much just took the list one for one and threw it into here. Now, when I played the games, I also just played the list one for one. What they do to get this capture run of grass energy, please, you need more grass energies in the deck. Only because Beedrill is a card that uses grass energy. You only need like 1 psychic energy per Giratina. So you can go down to 3, you go down to 4, just whatever. You can also consider bringing Palpatine here, maybe for the Rhyhorn and the Boss's Orders, possibly even the Single Strike Mustard. But otherwise, I think the list is mostly fine as it is. You have Arceus VStar and the Summon line. These are all great ways to grab explicit cards from your hand in order to trim your hand down to one card, the Single Strike Mustard. So you can play it in some of the Beedrill. And the Beedrill is really good right now because it targets VMAX, who is authorized, and Lugia VStar, who is also extremely popular. Before this deck fell out, because we were heading to the Astro Radiance format, where Palkia is becoming super popular. So the decks that Beedrill could target, like Arceus VStar and the VMAX, were going on a downtrend. And that was even more so when we reached the Lost Origin format, where, all the Lost decks were reverting toward the special energy anyways. But now we are back into a special energy-centric format, where I think Beedrill can shine. On top of that, we also get access to a new partner, or this was a flag on B. We get to run the Giratina VSTAR, who fulfills a similar niche while also being a lot bulkier and requiring technically less energy. With a choice belt plus Beedrill, you could go ahead and KO 2 VMAXs in one game. So, I think the deck is fine. Once again, don't run the capture, run the 5th grass energy if you need to, or mess around the ratio somewhere else. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the games. Alrighty, guys, started with our first game here. We have Beedrill versus Mew. One thing that I wanted to note as well with the list is its overall placement. So if you're thinking about building a list, I wouldn't go out of my way to get the pieces for it. Maybe test it out if you already happen to have like Arceus and Giratinas. If you played the last Battle Pass, they gave out Arceus VStar and Beedrills for free. And they give you 1 Giratina VStar for free on this one. So all you gotta do is pull the last 2 Vs and the VStar, which if you're playing the last Battle Pass or just open a lot of Lost Origin packs, it's definitely possible. But otherwise, I'm not really sure if I'd recommend this deck. I just kind of feel like there's slightly better variants in the metagame right now. Regardless though, the deck is really fun, as we're just watching you play Solitaire over here. I believe they end up filling their bench entirely, which makes it a little sketchy for them, because it means that they're pretty much revealing, never mind. I was going to say they are revealing that they have a, what's his name? A Meloetta, yet, at least. I haven't seen a single strike, or Fusion Strike Energy, I haven't seen anything else. And I'm going to go ahead and take this on turn here. The only time where the Call Energy will actually be useful, or the Capture, that's what I meant. But even then, we could have quick pulled the Arceus and just grabbed the Giratina. That could have easily been a energy we could have gotten back to something else. But we see the Sparkle, which means 1, we aren't getting bossed, hooray. And 2, this is definitely the Fusion Strike Energy build. There's probably a Meloetta, but just couldn't draw it in time and just opted to just start going. If I haven't revealed what I'm already playing yet, which is very unlikely, Beedrill hasn't been in the back of people's minds ever since, like I said, has been played since Brilliant Stars, which was about almost a year ago by this point. 9 months? Yeah, something like that. Okay, we do have all the tools to search out even more pieces here. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the scoop of that. This is just to get me out of the active. And we'll put the Beedrill up there, and then we will drop the Drizzle and put down a energy search, which will grab us our grass energy. Also just looking to see like what stadiums we have in case if I want to grab the Path to the Peak as well, which I probably should, thinking about it, but I think I just go ahead and get the knockout here. I don't really feel like committing too many other resources, but we take our 3 prizes. And I don't really have to worry about Meloetta, or at least I feel like I don't. But yeah, also like I said, I wish I had the second Rhyhorn in the deck, because the Rhyhorn allows you to just attach way more fluidly. If you need to use the Beedrill to attack, you have to manually attach to it with a grass energy. And so we need the energies to like build up the Arceus to attack with the Giratina. It is a bit awkward sometimes, and I think I'd prefer a second Rhyhorn in here at some point, or like another training core, just some other acceleration piece. Anyways, yeah, once he goes ahead and knocks out the Beedrill, I'm thinking about the order here. I was like, can I summon a second Beedrill? I don't really feel like that's super necessary. I feel like I'm in a pretty good spot as well, so I'm just gonna go ahead, Rhyhorn, which will grab me the DTE. Super good here. And I even still have my VStar for down the line, just in case, but I'm gonna go ahead and throw a Path to the Peak. I don't really need to do anything else because I have everything else ready. Attach the 2 Psychics. Once again, it's just one of those things which, like, just in case I somehow summon a second Beedrill, there's always the option here. Obviously, attaching the energy to the Giratina V is not as good as well, only because I've not really Rhyhorn or any other form of energy attachment. If I was running 2 Rhyhorns, this play would be a lot better, but otherwise there's practically no difference in putting all my energies on one Giratina or splitting them up like this. It goes ahead and bosses up my Giratina here, and I believe they even drop down like... No, that's a different game I'm thinking of. Or maybe they do. Maybe they drop down a bunch of power tablets here. But there's basically only a few things that they can do here. They can either just, 1, kill me and just have to deal with it, or 2, they can retreat. And they choose to basically forfeit the game and just let me knock out the Mew there. There really wasn't a good scenario there, because I could have just then found, what's it called, Choice Belt with the Giratina VSTAR and knocked out a VMAX as well. Or just, you know, something else. There's just so many lives for me to win the game there because the Beedrill put them down 3 prizes. Anyways, this is a Lugia game? Anyways, yeah, Lugia is still deck. But if there's one thing I've learned about all my Lugia practice so far, it's Lugia hates Path to the Peak. So, you know, I gave Beedrill Sunshine, and now we got a Arceus game. But another thing that I wanted to note here is that I'm not sure if committing to the discard on the energy search is good. There was a consideration for me to like put an energy into the discard as well, so I could grab it with Training Court, or with Rhyhorn in case something got knocked out. So, I mean, that's a consideration I think I should have made. I did it at the time. It's also a bit sketchy to commit my resources like this, because I could draw an unplayable card. Like, I could draw an Ordinary Run right now, and because I didn't put that energy in the discard, Ordinary Run would not be playable. So I'm kind of thinking about it now, like, you know, maybe they were onto something. Maybe attaching to, or gaining energy in the discard would have been a good play here. It just means that I'm less likely to break. Thankfully we hit a capture, which is also a pain in the ass because I really want to be able to attack this turn, but I really can't. So I just go ahead. I'm going to take another Arceus because I realize this is really a Giratina game. Giratina is too costly, and I don't run the Temple of Sinnoh in order to get past a Lugia with a V-Guard energy. So I'm just going to go ahead and safely Trinity Charge over to my Arceus with Path to the Peak in play, obviously, because what else would I be doing? It's not a true Zelfie video unless he plays Path to the Peak and Arceus in the same deck. Anyways, my opponent is all bricked up right now. They pretty much got all 3 of their single prize attackers out. They're not doing much. The Path to the Peak is in play. If only they were playing Worker here, then they would have it out, but they aren't, so what are you supposed to do? This is also just a little sketchy too, this situation, what do I use my Evo Instance on? I go ahead and I get a Drizzile, which then allows me to search the deck for, do I grab the correct card? I grab the Evo Instance, which I'm going to call myself out on too. I think you definitely grab the Research instead, because one, I haven't played a supporter, two, the Giratina and the Arceus in my hand are kind of dead, and three, you know, I'm really hoping on a top deck out here, where the Research gives you so many other plays, and more than likely helps you draw into another level wall for an Evo, or just the Arceus VStar or something, right? It's just not the right play there, so please, please don't do what I did there. Didn't matter, because Path of the Beak is the most broken card in the game right now, but, you know, just play better, please. And finally we have a Giratina game. You know, it's kind of funny how I got, like, a clip of, like, each of the three core components doing something super, super important, which is cool. I like that I'm able to showcase a deck on so many levels, even though I wanted to basically turn this into a bee montage where I just pop everything with the Beedrill. It's like, haha, look at the funny bee, but it's what it is. We're up against a Gudra deck. Definitely not a deck I like facing, especially because they're more likely not playing a lot of special energy. Just for what we saw before, it was a lot of steel energy in there, so I always thought this was like Dialga, but then there was also a Fantina in there, so I was even more confused. Now there's a fighting energy in play, so I really have no clue what's going on with my opponent's list. Presume they gotta be playing, like, what other fighting type Pokemon would they be running? I guess maybe they're just running like a techable fighting type attacker with the Mirage Gate. I don't know what that would be. Maybe a Zapdos? Maybe so you get past the Arceus? I'm not so sure. I really just don't know by this point. I also like refuse to acknowledge the opponent's loss in this game because I see one Kanpei, I'm like, oh, they're not getting charged up quickly at all. I got so many turns to set myself up here. Actuality, I really don't. One other small thing about this hand right now is that having both of the V-Stars is kind of limiting on what types of supporters I'm allowed to play, because I definitely can't Mustard. Not that I'd want to, because like I said, I don't think the Beedrill does too much in this matchup. But yeah, and then I can't Research. Research is the more important one, because I can't afford to get rid of these Giratinas, especially when I think I need both of them. I need that wall breaking potential to get past the Gudra, so I'm just gonna have to accept it. I'll take my Arceus here. I see that the Inteleon is in the deck, and I go ahead and Starburst. Just trying to figure out what I need. I think I'm taking the double turbo energy so I can attack, and then a quick ball. There's basically no reason for this Beedrill to be in my hand, so I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of it and set at least one of my Giratinas. I can set up another one later, and I'm just saving the Drizzile just in case if he like bosses up one of my Sobbles. Also, like, you know, just play more conservatively with my resources. You don't have to do anything there. Even though I think a lot of people would evolve and try to extend their board state. Maybe get like a second Giratina out. It's just so unnecessary. We're gonna see another Courses experiment from the opponent, completely negating their whole advantage here. Because I didn't even like pay attention to their 7 cards in Lawson now, which means they are technically in Mirage Gate territory. I also don't notice the energy attached to the Gudra in the first place, so we're gonna go into Comfey, set ourselves up, and Mirage Gate. I don't know what the Mirage Gate does here. We're just attaching more energies to the Gudra after we retreated with it, which is cool. And then they go for a Slip and Shoot, something like that. It doesn't really matter by this point. I get my other Giratina. I'd love to be able to swing base right now and keep it. I'm also thinking about like if I need to get the second Giratina down. It's like, yeah, I really kind of do. I'll just go ahead and take the energy search as well. Pull out a psychic energy, I guess, attach it there, and just less impact it away. I definitely could have grabbed like another Marty or something like that, because once again, I'm leaving myself into a situation where I can't technically be breaking myself, but it's fine. Maybe? I don't know, I'm pretty far ahead. My opponent needs to basically get the Gudra attack online this turn, which is a lot, and it's possible, but even then, I also have ways around it too. Still haven't figured out what the fighting energy is for either, so yeah, there's also that. And there's only one water energy attached to Beedrill now, so I'm just like, oh, double turbo, that's cool. Boss, and get a load of this. I'll even evolve the other Giratina, which is probably a little disrespectful because I could get Roxanne right here, and I'd love to have that evolved. There's basically no reason for me to not evolve it right now, unless if I really wanted Shred, but that's just so unnecessary. Yeah, and that's game over for my opponent as we move on to the final game. So I mean, I gave all of them a little showcase here. The Beedrill, the Arceus, Puffpath, their peak, and then the Giratina there who just beat the shit out of everything. Here's a matchup I don't like playing. Fun story. Anytime I see a Regigigas on live, I pretty much instantly forfeit. I do not like playing this matchup, ever. So it's a shocker that I was like, let's play it. This deck isn't awful because at least it's not an auto loss, right? It's not like they set up Regi, so I'm like, oh, I gotta wait like 3 turns for me to dig for a boss. It's also interesting that people are moving over to Serena, which inherently makes Regis a little bit stronger. Means that you're gonna have a harder time picking out these specific targets. Kind of why I'm still a fan of the boss, at least in certain decks. Serena is definitely good, but Serena is just a tad smidge bit overrated. Well, maybe a little bit of an exaggeration, but you know, it's not like the end all be all. Cards cracked, don't get me wrong, but yeah. Anyways, I'm just gonna go ahead and start attaching this stuff. I'm not even gonna bother evolving the Giratinas in this matchup because even though having the extra bulk would be nice, it's too cost deficient to you know, maintain the loss impact attack, and Trent gets the job well enough. They aren't running like big charms or Cape of Toughness. Well, yeah, Cape of Toughness because they're all basics. Anyways, so it's not like I'm desperate. Gotta see the ordinary around, and they discarded Regigigas, so I'm like curious as to why they didn't shuffle the Regigigas back into the deck. I like great rank, and the whole ladder just started like a week ago, so I can't imagine these are like awful players. Anyways, Arceus goes out, which sucks. And now I have to figure out what to do here. This is also like why I despise the capture energy, because this capture energy is so useless. If this is a grass energy right now, we'd be balling, but it's not. Anyways, I'm looking through my hand and I'm trying to see if there's a play that can be made with the mustard or anything along the lines of that. I have cards I can shuffle back in, so I might as well. Don't shuffle the Arceus back in because I don't really need them. I've already used the VSTAR, charged another one up just to be KO'd by Rock. Does not sound like a smart thing to do right now as well. This one has to be Marty or Mustard. I decided Mustard is too much right now. I'll just go ahead and set up some of this other stuff. It's not the greatest, but I mean, at the very least we can start getting attachments down onto the Giratina, and I can just start shredding away. If this was the VStar, I'd be in trouble because I wouldn't have the energy to keep this up. But at least here it's like, it's passable. Here we're going to shove more cards in. Also, I don't see a Lucky Energy yet, which is so good. They can go ahead and drop the Path Their Peak. Sweet. And everything is charged up once again. I still think Path Their Peak is really strong. I've already said this already, but it's just so mean. You know, I think it'll definitely make a resurgence around World's time. Anyways, as I'm trying to come back from my AFK state here, I'm like looking at the game side, I was like, oh, what's happening here? We're just gonna go ahead and evolve this. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go ahead and get Evo Incense, clearly. Or, you know, draw into something that allows me to play my cards here. Unfortunately, we don't. And I just go ahead and shred. I could have Ultra Balled for an Inteleon, but I was like, I don't really need to do anything else right now. We got the Psychic in hand, we got everything, we're good. What we aren't good on is, like I said, we have a capture energy in the deck still, and all 4 of the grass energies are in play. So that means no Beedrill, unless if I play Raihan onto the Beedrill. So I have to preemptively summon the I have to preemptively summon the Beedrill, and then deal with it later, which is possible. Don't get me wrong. It's just like, yeah, not fun. I'm still looking around. I don't really need to grab anything. This is just gonna go ahead and grab me a training court. The reason why I grabbed that training court here is so I can grab a grass energy. And I think about it as like, well, there's a grass energy to grab afterwards, so I kind of flubbed this up even more. But at least the Beedrill's in play, right? Right? We go ahead and get a quick ball, and we're in a pretty decent spot, all things considered. They don't have a super easy line through us. We are technically ahead on the prize trade. We only have 2 prizers available. I lose my training court, which sucks a lot. The real play was just don't put that down yet. Grab anything else, maybe a choice spell, maybe just take another card out of the deck, or just don't grab anything. Not sure like what you should have done there, but I don't know. I feel like I flubbed up this end game so hard, so I'm just gonna admit to it. They will Terror Spark me and end up killing me. And this is like actually kind of sketchy, because now I have the Giratina up. The Giratina can die to, I think, Regigigas. So I'm just looking through. I see 2 Regis in there. It's like, well, I don't really have much else to do. On top of that, I also mess up again, because the Rhyhorn was the only way I was ever going to get the Beedrill attached, and I just don't. So now that Beedrill's useless, if Reggie dies, well, actually it's not true, because if Giratina died, it was game over anyways, so, yeah. I think the deck is super cool. If you have the tools to build it, go for it. If you don't, you can just buy Flying Pikachus instead. Those cards are also pretty good in tandem with Giratina. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you check out the, I forget the channel name already, but make sure to check out that channel I showed at the beginning. I love supporting smaller content creators, even though I'm like tiny myself too. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Peace.